What is up, guys? It's your boy MetalP here, bringing you the first episode of Hype and Concerns, where I go over different recent game announcements that particularly interest me and just sit down, discuss them, come up with my thoughts, anything I'm hyped about, anything I'm concerned about. And for this first episode, I'm going to be going over the recently released iDOLM STER Starlit Season. Now, this just got announced earlier this morning for us US people in the East Coast, and this is announced during a live stream that they recently did. And this is essentially the big 15th anniversary iDOLM STER game. You see it right here, and it is a crossover game where they're bringing over multiple different iDOLM STER franchises together. The original iDOLM STER series, Namco AS, Cinderella Girls, Million Live, and Shiny Colors into one big game, which sounds awesome. Before we get into this, we gotta address a little bit of an elephant in the room, a SideM flavored elephant. Yeah, so this game is not going to include the iDOLM STER SideM. At least not that we know of right now, and given from how GamiP or Sakagami, who is the main producer of the iDOLM STER franchise, worded it, we're probably not even going to get them at all. Which is bizarre and honestly rightfully got a lot of people very upset with that, considering that this is the big 15th anniversary game that's going to be celebrating pretty much the entire legacy of iDOLM STER, and yet they just completely left out one major branch of the whole franchise. Now, we don't completely know if it has anything to do with, like, say, the stigma against male and female idols performing together or anything like that, but regardless, a lot of people are very, very upset. And it really doesn't help that GamiP, who is an absolute legend with damage control, gave a very, very poor reason behind it. So because of that, SideM was actually trending very heavily across the world. And not only that, but the English community also came up with their own hashtag called Reason for SideM, which is basically just a bunch of people just letting out their issues and just expressing their passion for just SideM in general, because yeah, honestly, the branch deserves a lot better. It deserves way better. For those people that don't know, SideM has kind of been treated very poorly by the general iDOLM STER production team for a very, very long time. Like, ever since it launched, it kind of felt like the iDOLM STER SideM was kind of the redheaded stepchild of the series, where Bandai Namco just sometimes brings it up, like they sometimes mention it if it's like for very special promotional works or anything like that. But in terms of just the overall basis, it kind of tends to get the short end of the stick. I mean, when you consider that they don't really bring up SideM as much in terms of like their general like news, except for, again, just very, very big crossover things, especially, the 15th anniversary promotional material. Like, you see it right here. They absolutely perfectly acknowledge SideM. They're right there, front and center, and yet, for some odd reason, in the big 15th anniversary game, if we look back at what idols are actually in the game, they're absolutely nowhere to be seen. Like, not even as, like, rivals or anything like that. And it's got a ton of people very, very fishy, very, very suspicious, and very, very angry. And I understand that. For a lot of people, SideM was a huge deal. SideM is something that for a lot of people gave them a lot of hope, gave them a lot of inspiration. It's one of the few male idol franchises out there that I feel like a general audience can just relate to. A lot of these characters tend to be like, not so much like 15, 16-year-olds, though they are present, they tend to be more so like people that are older, like people in their mid to late 20s and sometimes even early 30s that in some ways just do not have a sort of like motivation in life, and once they become idols they just suddenly have that spark, and for a lot of people it gave them inspiration that even at such a late age, even when they feel like they can't really do anything, you know, it just gives them a lot of hope. It gives them a lot of like confidence that, hey, even when I'm like, you know, this old, even when I feel like I'm completely down and defeated, I can still get back up and just keep going. Which, honestly, that's an incredible message. And again, it's very, very understandable that a lot of people are just pissed, like absolutely pissed that SideM just got the shaft completely. It really doesn't help that GamiP gave the excuse that, you know, Starlit Season was originally developed with Cinderella Girls, Million Live, and Namco AS in mind, and SideM originally wasn't really going to be in it, but they decided to just shove in shiny colors in there in the last minute, and it kind of just makes the whole message just feel very messed up. It kind of makes it feel like they absolutely were going to give SideM the boot. Like, they absolutely did not care about it at all. Like, they just wanted to just, you know, here it is, we're just going to acknowledge it, here it is in the 15th anniversary image, and then, like, a lot of people are very, very angry about this, and for a good chunk of people, especially, you know, SideM producers, which there are plenty of. I don't even know if Bandai Namco is aware, but there are plenty of SideM producers that are very reasonably angry. And not just because, you know, SideM is gone, but because it feels like just an entire culmination of Bamco just not giving them the time of day that they deserve. Like, they tend to get the short end of the stick in terms of promotional material. They don't really get mentioned a whole lot in terms of, you know, just special events. They tend to... Live on Stage was not a very good game. I will fully admit that. Live on Stage, it has its players. It has people that are still playing that to this day, and I am... You people, especially you people in the Live on Stage server, shout out to you guys. You people are the real heroes, because I could not go through that game after the first month. I thought it was trash. But there are plenty of people that are super dedicated to SideM, and I'm absolutely proud of you guys for that. But even so, you also see it with, like, you know, the SideM anime. Like, absolutely nothing against the SideM anime. The SideM anime was very enjoyable and a lot of fun. But unfortunately, like, compared to the original Idolmaster series, which, you know, got a full 2-core 25 episodes, same thing with Cinderella Girls, a full 2-core 25 episodes, SideM, on the other hand, unfortunately, you only got like 13, 14 episodes, which is about half of the length that all the other Idolmaster series got. So that alone is kind of feels like Bandai Namco really doesn't give a shit about SideM, which again really sucks, because SideM has a very strong, very dedicated fan base that absolutely deserve to be acknowledged. They absolutely deserve to have their time in the spotlight. They absolutely deserve to be acknowledged in what's the big 15th anniversary title that brings everyone together. I think a Twitter post that I read recently put it best, where it's kind of like if Smash Ultimate came out and it didn't have Legend of Zelda. Like, something would just feel empty. So, what exactly can Bandai do about this? Well, this can go in multiple ways. Some of these ways might not be pretty for a lot of the community, but I feel like they can either delay the game to add SideM, not so much as, like, you know, producible idols, because if I'm being perfectly honest, I feel like there might be a little bit of a problem with having SideM be producible, especially with, like, the song list and everything like that. but maybe have them as like festival rivals, you know, kind of like how in One for All, where you would have different idols from different branches show up as like, you know, your rivals during festivals. So that way you acknowledge that they exist without having to go through the hurdle of, you know, having to group them with the girls. They would either delay the game or, you know, add them in at the last minute, which, good God, I wouldn't want that, because that would probably require that the employees would have to go to crunch time, and Jesus Christ, the last thing I ever want to see from any video game is good old Mr. Crunch. Or, and this is probably the most likely scenario and a pill that I know a lot of SideM producers are not going to want to stomach, they might be DLC. They might show up as like, you know, producible idol DLC as like a separate campaign all in its own in the future as like a sort of like apology thing. I know there's a ton of people that absolutely do not want it to be DLC, because then it'll be like, oh, I want SideM, but the only way that I can put SideM in this game is through a paywall, which is bullshit, and I can see that. But at the same time, I feel like that's probably the most likely thing that they're going to be going for. And it sucks. It really sucks. This is kind of a really crappy situation, all things considered. So, with all that said, as much as I agree that SideM producers have every single right to be upset, and I personally feel that leaving SideM out of this is a terrible move, considering what exactly this game is supposed to be. Is this a deal breaker for me? Hell no! Absolutely not! I will agree that not having SideM is a terrible move, but still, I've been waiting for a game like this since 2013. Almost 7 years. Back when Million Live first came out, I was thinking to myself, I hope there is going to be a game that just breaks down the barriers of, you know, different branches have to be separated, different branches have to, you know, do this, you know, Cinderella Girls can only be Cinderella Girls, Million Live can only be Million Live, with, you know, Namco AS joining in, Shiny Colors can only be Shiny Colors. Like, I always felt that there should just be, that line should just blur. And it felt like that was just blurring more and more with, like, stuff like, you know, this and, like, the whole festivities of the 15th anniversary, and seeing that the next main console game, which I didn't even think they were ever going to do again, the fact that the next console game is going to be that multi-branch crossover that me and a lot of people have been waiting for, I can't feel anything but pure hype for this game. That's me personally. I'm super excited for this game. In terms of playing Idolmaster, I've only really played the mobile games a lot, and I've seen plenty of people play the console games. This is going to be the first Idolmaster console game that I genuinely get for myself. This game hits so many of the right spots for me personally. Like, for one thing, the fucking roster. Like, yeah, you have the standard 13 idols of 765 Namco Pro. But then you go down and you see Cinderella Girls is in this, Million Live is in this, Shiny Colors, which, Jesus Christ, I wasn't even thinking Shiny Colors would really be a part of this at all. That shit came out like not even 2 years ago, and they're already like in this bitch. That's remarkable. Like, the freaking, and a lot of the choices here, like, they seem really promising so far. Like, Cinderella Girls are going for a lot of the big major fan favorites. Shiny Colors, same thing. I was not expecting them to go for Sakuya or Tenka here. I honestly thought they were just going to have all the leaders, but, you know, having these very popular, beloved fan favorite characters in this game, I feel like that's a really good call. Only blemish. What the hell is this? Freaking I love Million Live. I love it to pieces. This Million Live lineup, trash. I think it's garbage. I think it's really bad. I think it's super safe. I think it's super boring. Just having, the main trio, I think that's completely whack. Compared to, again, Cinderella Girls and Shiny Colors here, they completely went ham. They decided to go for, the characters that people absolutely love, the characters that people absolutely jive with, the fan favorites, the big guns, like the people that are gonna win popularity polls, the characters that are going to sell this game for a good chunk of people. But Million Live just feels kind of like a wet fart in comparison to the lineups. Like, I don't know, like going for just like main trio, especially considering that for a lot of people, their biggest complaint with Million Live's main trio is that they're incredibly similar to the original Namuko Pro main trio. It kinda just feels super half-assed, honestly. Like, I really hope those last two spots aren't Kawadi and Tsumugi. As much as I love them, I hope it's not them, just for the sake of variety. I want to see some crazy shit. I want to see fucking Roko be in this game. I want to see, like, Reika. I want to see, like, some out-of-nowhere character just to make Million Live look a little more exciting. Because this is cool. This is interesting. This is boring. That's my only, like, big, like, drop-off with this. But other than that, I think this just looks great. Like, the switch to Unreal 4, especially, you see right here, it really helps with the shading. Like, you can tell, yeah, it's still, the Stella models and the Stella assets, but just looking at, how the shading's done with the Unreal Engine, I think that's remarkable. I think this game just looks really nice. And I think one big thing to just get excited for in general is just seeing these characters, especially Shiny Colors characters, just get the 3D model treatment. I think that especially is just going to be really, really exciting for this game. But if we're talking about the game, we are talking about two things that get me excited for this game. The first thing is the core gameplay itself is kind of going back to that classic style of gameplay that people really liked from One for All. Because one big thing that a lot of people really didn't like about Platinum Stars and Stella Stage was the rhythm-based gameplay. A lot of people weren't really much of a fan of that. And it really does feel like they're listening to that criticism, and they kind of went back to how the original games were, back on the PlayStation 3. So I really do like that. But another thing, and I don't think a lot of people are really talking about this, or they are, but I feel like it should be emphasized. This right here. This game's coming out on PC. This game is coming to Steam. This game's gonna be on Steam. The Idolmaster team knows what Steam is. They know that PC games exist. So they're releasing this shit on Steam, which means two things. The mod support for this game is gonna be crazy. It's going to be batshit insane. There's going to be a ton of people that are going to mod different wacky ass costumes. There's going to be a ton of people that mod in different, like, wacky ass accessories. You know damn well there's going to be some motherfucker that's going to mod CJ from goddamn Grand Theft Auto over Sakuya or some shit. Like, there's going to be one guy that's just going to rip these models, just take all these character models, and somehow put them in, like, San Andreas, or use them for, like, Source Filmmaker, or some shit like that. Like, I'm fully fully expecting that to happen with freaking Starlit Season. I'm fully expecting that. But another thing, and I feel like this is a pretty big deal, with a PC release and the fact that there's going to be a modding community, especially because this game's running on Unreal Engine 4. This game's running on an engine that might as freaking well be open source. Like, anyone can freaking download Unreal Engine 4, learn how to use it, and just mod from it. That means one thing. This game's gonna get an English patch. There is an absolute guarantee, without a shadow of a doubt, this game is gonna get an English patch. Even if this game is not properly released worldwide, there is going to be a dedicated community of fans that will just mod in an English subtitles to this game. And I think that's amazing. Just the fact that this game's going to be on PC at all opens up the floodgates so much. As long as the Steam release is not region locked, I think this is fair game. I think this is going to be amazing. Like, putting this game on Steam besides the crossover aspect, I think this game getting a Steam port is the best thing that ever happened in this whole thing. Just the possibilities of it being on Steam and it running on Unreal Engine 4 is massive. The iDOLM STER community is ravenous to have these games in English. And if Bamco's not going to give it to us, they're just going to be like, well, fuck it, we'll just do it ourselves. So, good call that it's on Steam. I'm personally a little bit surprised that there's no Switchboard of this game. Like, I would have thought that they would have, just looked at the popularity of the Switch and went, maybe we can probably, port this. I mean, Switch runs Unreal Engine 4 perfectly fine. They might have to, tone down some of the lighting and the shaders, but other than that, I think the Switch can probably handle a game like this, but who knows? I'm not Bandai. I'm perfectly fine with it being on PS4 and PC. But regardless, what could this whole game mean for the iDOLM STER franchise? I feel like this is going to be, if they execute it properly, because there is always that slight chance that they could just fuck it all up. Just any goodwill that they could have had from this, well, as much as they have right now, after the whole SideM debacle, as much as they have right now, could be completely gone if they just fuck it all up. Which I really, really hope they don't do. I sincerely want this game to be awesome. This is going to be the first, console iDOLM STER game I actually try and pick up. I really, really want this game to be amazing, because from what I'm seeing, SideM debacle and, really crappy Million Live roster aside, I'm stoked for this game. My hype levels are, up here. This is easily my most anticipated game of 2020 now. And yeah, I'm all in on this. I am so in on this. God. And we're getting more info in April. We still don't know who the final 6 idols are in this game. It could be fucking anyone. It could be something as simple as, Kaori and Tsumugi, or they could go fucking nuts. They could give us, Subaru or something. They could... One of these Cinderella Girl slots could be Ryamu. I'm just saying.